You. I feel like.
Brock Lesnar's back, and I hate it. We'll talk about that, a lot about that, and everything else that happened at Summerslam as Couch Potato Diary Live starts right now. Welcome, everyone, to Couch Potato Diary. We are going to be talking a lot about the Brock Lesnar situation and why I and so many people aren't fans of what has happened around WWE over the last 24 hours or so. We will get into that and some of the good that happened at SummerSlam as well. Going to get as much in as we can before WWE Raw starts here in about an hour. So, going to try to get through this quickly, but do want to remind you guys we are presented by Sea of Dead. Check out seaofdead403.ca. Got a couple Cannons hats left. Shout out to everyone who came and said hi when we were at Mugs for the wrestling event that was happening right before SummerSlam here in Calgary. So check out seaofdead403.ca for that great Calgary swag. There's a lot happening in the wrestling world and sporting world in general, and if you need the fuel to get through it all, head over to swiftenergy.gg and use that code PKPrimetime for the 25% off. So like I said, we are going to get into a lot around the WWE today, but we have to begin with the biggest story. Brock Lesnar is back, and the WWE is hoping that we've forgotten why he was gone in the first place. But his return is also a reminder that while WWE claims it's in a new era, some things, unfortunately, haven't changed. This is a heavy topic with a lot of layers, so let's break it all down. The word complicated sure has come up in the world of professional wrestling an awful lot lately as we continue to deal with Hulk Hogan's passing away and now this as well. There's been a lot that has been complicated over the last little bit. Now, should have said this off the top, but before we dive too much further into this, a trigger warning off the top that this is a subject that deals with a lawsuit that is involving sexual assault, sexual misconduct, and human trafficking. And so if that is a trigger for you, this is going to cover a lot of those things. So just everyone, please be aware of that. But obviously, this is, once again, a fan base divided. And, like, we talked about it on the Hulk Hogan side of all of this. I made it pretty clear that I was in the, like, why can't you just let me love you sort of a camp, I guess. That he didn't do enough to take accountability for his obviously hurtful actions. And if he would have, then I think a lot of people would have forgotten it or forgiven it, rightly or wrongly. With Brock Lesnar, I am in the please just go away camp. I wasn't expecting to see him come out, even for a second. I was not expecting that. And my initial reaction was a groan and an eye roll, and then it got worse from there. And there are so many reasons for all of that. And now let's start with the legalities of everything that is happening right now. For a recap, Alan underscore cheap shots on X has posted some of the main complaints, I guess, or main times that Brock Lesnar was brought up in the lawsuit that has been brought against Vince McMahon and the WWE by Janelle Grant. Grant alleges that Vince McMahon used her to help sign a top star, later confirmed as Brock Lesnar. She says that she was, quote, offered to him as part of the deal. This began this began what she describes as a pattern of coercion involving her body and Lesnar's contract talks. Grant says that McMahon told her to send explicit photos and videos to Lesnar. After she did, Vince allegedly showed her a reply from Brock, quote, he likes what he sees. She says these instructions weren't optional and that they were a part of her role as assigned by Vince McMahon. In July 2021, Grant says Vince flew Lesnar in to meet her, but the dinner went badly. Lesnar allegedly got too drunk. After he was flown home, Vince allegedly forced Grant into violent sex role-playing as Lesnar. She says this was not the first time. In December of 2021, Grant alleges that Vince gave Lesnar her phone number. Brock allegedly requested a video of her urinating. She says she complied. His response, if you didn't do it, I'd have lost interest. He also allegedly called her a bitch by text. Lesnar allegedly proposed a, quote, play date, a physical meetup. Grant agreed and then canceled due to COVID happening at the time and weather. She says that this was her chance to walk away before anything physical happened, but claims the pressure had already done harm. Grant says that she was used as, quote, a pawn to secure talent deals. Vince allegedly ordered her to perform sexual acts for corporate goals. With Lesnar, that allegedly meant videos, sexting, and being offered as part of a WWE contract negotiation. Lesnar, to be clear, has not been charged with any crime. He is not a defendant, but the lawsuit names him again 44 times. And he allegedly received explicit content, made degrading demands, and engaged in sexual dialogue with a woman that his boss had total control over. So, no, I don't think we just need to move on and let this guy come back into professional wrestling and into this company and into the public spotlight. This kind of power dynamic and alleged coercion described is something that really doesn't represent the environment that I want to support or be around in any way. And the fact that they are doing this while the investigation is still actively ongoing and there's still the lawsuit happening is just absolutely insane to me and incredibly disappointing. To allow someone back on your program who is repeatedly mentioned in serious allegations like these, which has constantly suggested that, bouncing between my notes here on this one, apologies. But like this just, again, it doesn't support any, or doesn't really show anything that I want to support in any way, shape, or form. And so again, to allow someone like this back on your program after you have repeatedly said that, oh, we've learned from this, it's different, that those problems left out the door when Vince McMahon left, but we're going to bring this guy back on television. It really does show that they haven't learned anything from this entire situation, and they really were just hoping that people would just forget and enough time would pass. And before, because I know what the counterpoints are for a lot of people, before you say the innocent before proven guilty thing, that has no standard here. That has no standing here. That is implemented so that the government can't just lock people up because they think, just, throwing out a random example here, they might be part of a gang because of their background. It is there to protect people from the government and to provide them with due process. It doesn't have one thing to do with a person's employment. Employment, especially employment with a company like WWE, is a privilege, not a right. If employment was a right, then a lot of things would look very different around the world. The fact is, the WWE is well within their rights to not use Brock Lesnar. They are well within their rights to suspend Brock Lesnar, and they would be well within their rights to have fired Brock Lesnar based solely on the allegations. That's it. If a company does deem that you are doing reputational harm to them, especially as a publicly traded company, they can cut ties with you pretty quickly. So the innocent until proven guilty thing, that applies in a court of law. But in terms of, does he just not deserve an opportunity to have a job? I mean, look, get a job. It just doesn't have to be this one. Being in WWE and being a television performer and everything like that, that's not a right at all. That is a privilege. And it is one that you can get back, but it is not one that I think that he has done anything to earn back in any stretch of the imagination. For the record, Janelle Grant's team has released a statement. For far too long, abuse was allowed to thrive under WWE's leadership. Instead of righting this wrong, WWE has done nothing to ensure those responsible are held accountable. This attempt to sweep misconduct under the rug will backfire. We look forward to the full set of facts, including those about Mr. Lesnar, coming out in a court of law where they belong. But in the meantime, we refer you back to Janelle Grant's updated complaint, which outlines in detail the abuse she endured by McMahon and others while employed at WWE. And so from a wrestling fan standpoint, and just from my standpoint, I guess I shouldn't speak for everyone, but all I want is just let the process of this thing play out. And don't bring in someone who is alleged to have done these things. If the court proceedings make it clear that Brock Lesnar is misrepresented or uninvolved, then hit his music the next day. That, by all means, go for it. If all the people who are innocent until proven guilty, due process, blah 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 blah, if all those people get their due process, and Brock Lesnar is cleared of every bit of alleged wrongdoing, then yeah, hit that guitar riff, let his self walk right down that aisle and do that. But if even one part of the allegations against him in this are true, then I don't think he should be anywhere near a television camera ever again. But we don't let to have any of these things play out. We don't have any type of a statement from Lesnar or anything. Literally, the only thing that has changed from the day the WWE stopped using him until the exact moment that, again, his music hit and he came down, got a little bit tired walking to the ring and hit John Cena with one move and then left. The only thing that has changed is the date on the calendar, which highlights again that it's not accountability, but it's sweeping under the rug, as was said in the statements there from Janelle Grant's representatives. So yes, I hate this. I hate every bit of Brock Lesnar coming back in this type of a situation when you have these type of allegations out there, when everything is ongoing. Again, if you want to let due process play out and it shows that Brock Lesnar is not involved in the ways that are alleged, then cool. But we don't have that. We have literally nothing has changed that would make Brock Lesnar now usable compared to where he was before. And I guess they did kind of set some of this up with some of the coded language where, yeah, Brock's just being Brock. He's not, he hasn't changed one thing about what he's doing. It's just Brock being Brock. That's all it is. They never once used the term suspended or anything like that. So they can technically, I mean, they can do whatever they want. He's an independent contractor, but they don't have to lift a suspension or anything. It is just, hey, now we are using him again. So it all just feels gross. And it didn't give me oh my God, Brock Lesnar's back. It's like, oh, really? Like, we're not asking for a lot. We don't need to have a super in-depth background check or anything like that to have you be a performer on the television. We just literally want to make sure that you didn't do what you were alleged of doing, and then we'll be good. That's fine. Let the process play out, and that's it. So again, from like a legal, moral, ethical thing, I absolutely hated it. Not that it should matter, but from a purely wrestling standpoint, they didn't need to do this either. Like, who was clamoring for a Brock Lesnar match? If he hadn't come out, would we have thought the Cena retirement tour would be incomplete without a Brock Lesnar feud? No. He was set to return at the Royal Rumble just before WrestleMania 40. Did you look at that Royal Rumble or the following WrestleMania 40 or any event since and thought, man, you know what this thing could have used? Really could have used some Suplex City and a Brock Lesnar match. No, not a chance. Allegations aside, just from an enjoyment of watching wrestling on television, I didn't want that guy back. I was quite a bit happier without Brock Lesnar as a active member of a wrestling television show that I happen to watch regularly. I was really cool with that not happening again. And like, you look at this most recent weekend, they did 2 nights of SummerSlam, and still a bunch of talent didn't get onto the show. There is no need for him to come in here. There is nothing exciting about him having a match with John Cena in 2025 or him having a match with anybody else. I like, creatively, whatever, this sucks. I'm not excited about this. If the allegations weren't there and that music would have hit, I still probably would have been like, all right, well, like, music's cool at least. Like, you would at least maybe have something there, but no, like, I am not excited about this at all. Like, think of how many other people we would have been so much more excited about if their music would have hit or they would have done any kind of a stare down or anything. Like, you probably wouldn't have had the music hitting for these guys, but like, to do it on Raw today or something like that, having Braun Breaker come out and challenge him, and I still think that's where this is going to all end up, but to do this is, like, to have Braun Breaker come out and challenge him, great. Obafemi up from NXT, do that. I would have had, if the music would have hit and Mr. Iguana came from the front row and came in and challenged John Cena, better reaction than Brock Lesnar coming out. Like, there's just, obviously that one's hilarious, but so many other things would have been better just from a wrestling standpoint than that shit that we got on Sunday night. So if you want to put all that aside, and I don't, but even if you did, wrestling wise, we didn't need this. We don't need this at all. This company was on a really good run for a while there. It has wobbled a little bit, and now this screams a trip back to the old booking that everyone was so excited to get away from. Brock Lesnar's last WrestleMania match was against Omos. Who's clamoring for this to happen again? Like AJ Druid says in the chat, Trick Williams coming out and attacking. Sure, just something. You want to establish anyone else and do this. Fine. But I don't think this retirement tour needed it. I don't think this wrestling program needed it. I don't think wrestling fans needed it. And honestly, I genuinely think that there are a lot of people who are doing the innocent until proven guilty stuff that would agree with me under normal circumstances. But for some reason, people like Brock Lesnar, who get placed in these high things and then have allegations against them, end up being martyrs in this weird way. And I will never understand it. And so this is where I guess some like personal accountability or anything like that comes in. Because the frustrating thing is, I'm saying all these things, and I don't think a lot's going to change, right? Like, I'm not going to stop watching WWE. I'm not going to cancel Netflix over this. I'm not going to stop covering WWE. I think the tone will probably change, but I'm not going to stop covering WWE. I'm not going to go to any WWE shows, certainly not ones that Brock Lesnar is on, but it's probably going to be a while before I go to another WWE show again. But I also hadn't been to one in a while, so I don't think that's really affecting them all that much. And really, like, none of it would. They're setting they just had 100,000 people in New York over a couple of nights in August. And obviously those numbers can be fudged a little bit, but still, they're setting gate records all around the world. So me just being like, well, you know what? I'm not watching anymore. You know, like, that's not going to do a whole lot to them. They're not falling to their knees. No. So I understand kind of the place of us right now. So it is a little bit frustrating that you can just like yell and scream and stomp your feet all you want. They're going to do what they're going to do. And like, look, at the end of the day, I can't tell anyone how to feel. I can't tell you what to feel or anything like that. Can't tell you how to watch anything. My hope from my content has always been, let's have some conversations, hopefully have some fun while we do it, and maybe you learn something along the way. If that changes an opinion or two, neat. If not, neat. Like I don't think we need to change the world here, and I'm not coming out here trying to do like a Jedi, like you will believe what I believe. I understand the world's divided, and not everyone thinks the way that I think. So I'm not trying to change minds here. I'm just wanting to have the conversation and just telling you why I think this fucking sucks, basically. So I understand that if you can look past all the stuff we read about Brock Lesnar with Janelle Grant, and you can still hear the music play and be like, F and F yeah, man. Let's watch Brock Lesnar do 4 moves and get really excited about it. Then I'm probably not going to change your mind on all of this. But there's nothing I can really do. The one thing I will say, and we have Toxic in the chat, who, by the way, hi Toxic. I didn't say it hello before because I'm ranting. But the one thing I will say, I've said this in the past era of WWE, and hey, look at it coming up once again. And a lot of it had to center around Brock Lesnar, actually. Support what you like as a pro wrestling fan. If you are a diehard Cody Rhodes fan, then by God, be a diehard Cody Rhodes fan. But if you're watching WWE just out of habit, because I am a wrestling fan who has watched on Mondays for forever, do I love the product? Whatever, but it's wrestling, so I'm watching it. Try something else, maybe. There is so much out there. Go to local shows. There's a lot of great indie talent across Canada, across North America, across the world. Go to those shows. As Toxic is saying, watch AEW. He's saying to me, cover AEW. I tend to kind of fall off on the one that isn't in the pay-per-view cycle, but AEW coverage does need to be more regular here. I will fully admit that, and it absolutely will be. But yeah, watch AEW, watch TNA. There's great stuff happening there. Watch Ring of Honor. They had one of the matches of the year a couple of weeks ago. Watch that. New Japan Pro Wrestling. Bit of a lull right now, but they have the greatest tournament in professional wrestling happening with the G1. There's so much wrestling out there that if you're just watching WWE for wrestling's sake, I would implore you to try something else. But again, if you love WWE, then just go for it. Whatever. All I am saying is there's enough wrestling, enough very good wrestling out there that if you don't like something, don't watch it. And if you do like something, really dive in and give that a chance. Give other wrestling a chance. Explore some things. Like the availability of pro wrestling now is incredible. You can get, like, even if you don't want to sign up for another streaming service, Stardom puts a ton of their matches up online. AAA throws a ton of their stuff up on YouTube. Same thing with CMLL. I think New Japan kind of does. Like there's a lot that is out there that you can go and try to dive in on. And look, like if you hate this, but you still want to watch WWE, instead of giving them a view on Netflix, head to a bar that's showing the show, right? Like Calgary example, but Muggs is showing WWE events. They had Summerslam on after the wrestling event. Seemed like a great atmosphere there. I wasn't able to stay, but people were amped up about it, and it seemed like a great atmosphere. So you still get your wrestling. You are at a place that would be showing it to quite a few people anyway, and you're out here supporting a local business. So if you want to still watch your WWE, but feel a little icky about it based on events, then fine. Just maybe try to find other ways. And again, if none of your habits change, then I can't. That's fine by me too. I'm not trying to tell you how to do this, how to do that, how to behave, how to do anything. All I am simply just out here, just maybe give a look at some of these other things also. And if nothing else, just be a shill for myself for a second, if you just want to use me as the, well, he's watching it so I don't have to guy, I will gladly fall on that sword for all of you there. When Hulk Hogan passed away, there was a lot of people who got upset at the coverage, saying that without Hulk Hogan, wrestling wouldn't be where it is today. They said that wrestling was doing fine without him, and that wrestling is more than just the WWE and the WWF timeline. while I may disagree on the Hulk Hogan overall impact on the industry part, one thing I will absolutely agree on as a wrestling fan is that wrestling is a whole lot more than the WWE. And it's events like this that make me very happy that that's the case. And it is also events like this that we need to remind ourselves that there's a lot more out there to go dive into. So those are my thoughts on the ickiness of the Brock Lesnar situation. We have a couple chats here as we are doing the live stream here today. Toxic's asking about the John Cena heel turn. So here's what we'll do. We have, basically, while this live stream is going, we have about 30 minutes until Raw is happening. I do want to cover night 1, night 2 of SummerSlam, but obviously we are running out of time to do that here. And so let's just answer some stuff in the chat. We have Toxic, like we said, talking about what do we think about the John Cena heel turn. And so let's dive in. Obviously, this latest chapter with Brock Lesnar adds another wrinkle and another dynamic to the John Cena heel turn and kind of how they are coming out of this now. So let's talk about where we're at in what looks like the conclusion of the John Cena heel turn and where they're at on the John Cena retirement tour. So, with Brock Lesnar coming back, it does certainly seem like the John Cena retirement tour has now veered into the babyface lane. So, what do we think of the John Cena heel turn? That's what Toxic is asking in the Twitch chat right now. Again, if you're watching this after the fact, we do these live on a few streaming platforms. You can check those out on the overlay below. But this really does, I think, drive home a lot of the frustration around the John Cena heel turn. He had Toxic had a note in the chat here a little bit earlier. There we go. I don't know how you think about this, but Cena heel turn run was absolutely botched, in my opinion. LOL. Storyline was horrible. Zero momentum in anything during that run. Couldn't agree more. And it all felt like it was rushed to placate to something else, right? Like the inciting incident with Cena turning heel at Elimination Chamber was one of the great all-time moments in the absolute history of professional wrestling, with John Cena with the hug and then the meme face that he puts on. And then he kicks Cody right between the roads, and all of a sudden we have the heel turn. And at the time, you have that visual. It is Cena, it is Rock, it is Travis Scott as Dragoon Arc. I hope I'm saying that all right, Dragoon. But as saying on the YouTube chat, bungled from the start with The Rock and Travis Scott. If you just wanted to do a John Cena heel turn, there was a way to do it, and we could have had fun with it. And look, it was a little generic, it was a little whatever, but there was some fun to John Cena's a bad guy now. This is something new, and we haven't seen this before, right? Like, you had an evolution of the Sting character when they were doing the Sting retirement tour. It was just that he turned into New Jack, and he was jumping off of things, and his final match included a match with a pane of glass and people getting lit on fire and stuff like that. This one a little bit more mellow, but it's an involvement. It's something different. It's something that we haven't seen from this character before. So it's kind of cool that we are seeing this. And so it was bungled right from the start, like you said, with The Rock and Travis Scott. But that moment was so huge. And to tell us, if you were to go back to that night in Toronto and say, so by the way, here's how it's all going to play out. The Rock's barely going to get mentioned on the road to WrestleMania. Travis Scott is going to take an hour and a half to come down to the ring at Mania, kind of killing a lot of the momentum a subpar match had anyway, and kind of sort of play into the finish, and then John Cena is going to win. He's going to be pretty generic. Again, still no mentions really of The Rock for a while. Gonna have the matches you want. Randy Orton, CM Punk, we're doing those sorts of things again. And then the end to this, the entire end game of John Cena turning heel is he's going to cut one promo on Friday Night SmackDown the night before SummerSlam, and he's just going to be a good guy now. I think we all if it was our future selves coming to tell us that back in the past, we would have punched our future selves in the face, saying, why would you even speak such evil into existence? This has been bungled 100%. This was awful how this whole thing was handled. And so it was, looking at it now, it was so obvious that they just wanted The Rock to pop a number because they were worried about ticket sales in Toronto. And so they shoehorn him into this thing that they had no real vision of trying to pay off, and then have to try to maneuver it. And then the way we come out it is, well, we're bringing Brock Lesnar back, so we need to turn you babyface now, so can we just do it with one promo and now everyone's happy and loves you again? There's no thought. There's no long-term planning. And when you look at where WWE has been so effective and all the beats of the story that led to Cody finishing the story at WrestleMania 40 and how that was all laid out, and obviously they altered plans and everything like that, but how there was all this progression leading up to that big moment and how big that felt, that's when they're at their most effective. When it is just, well, let's fly by the seat of our pants because we need to do this and we need to do this and we need to do this, that's not the way to handle any storytelling, including this is, you don't get to do this again. John Cena's retiring at this, and from all accounts, this isn't going to be Terry Funk, where this is the first of 15 retirements that he does. This is going to be it. And this is the story that we are doing. It is like, even if you didn't plan on having The Rock come back for WrestleMania or SummerSlam, by the way, there was still a way to have him as just this ever-present final boss hanging over everything. But like, they barely even mention it coming off of that. And like the whole story is just John Cena now turning on the fans and has nothing to do with what The Rock did. And you could have still somehow tied that all in and made it entertaining, even if Rock wasn't going to be there for any of it. So this really does feel like the waste of a very, very good angle from the Elimination Chamber. And it feels like a waste of the first now 7 months of this final year that you have with John Cena. And now coming out of it, I think like there was concern that the stuff with CM Punk would kind of hurt his reputation, and I think there has been a little bit of damage done to that. But in terms of him being a draw as a babyface, that hasn't changed. But Cody was the biggest babyface in the industry when he wins the championship at WrestleMania 40, and now with not one hint of a heel turn, he's booed at SummerSlam. So you, in one whole thing, in just the span of what would it be? It's not even 8 months. The thing happened in February, so it was 6 months. You have had an all-time moment, wasted it entirely, and you have now basically knocked everyone down a peg. You have taken your top moneymaker and your best babyface and now turned people against him, and you hurt the reputation of CM Punk to a way that, like, again, he's going to be fine as a draw, but you hurt his reputation, I think, not insignificantly with this whole thing. So what benefit came from any of this with the John Cena heel turn? Was it an effective use of John Cena? It was not. Was it entertaining? At times, sure. At other times, yeah, a little boring. Not a little generic, little one note throughout the whole thing. Did we elevate anybody? Well, we did not. Is John Cena in a better or different place? He is not. What was gained? Aside from The Rock got to do this and everyone thought it meant something. Also, just a quick aside, I am done reading the tea leaves of what WWE... Oh, well, nothing's by accident. Look, you have The Rock beating up Cody right by a trailer that has Stone Cold's face on it. That has to mean something. And then it didn't mean something. Well, The Rock did this, and he put the... And he, when he was acknowledging Roman Reigns, he actually acknowledged it with a gun thing. So that obviously means... It doesn't. None of it meant anything. No whatever. Oh, well, maybe this, maybe da-da-da-da-da. No, I'm done. They need to surprise me with something like that again before I'm going to, oh, well, and actually this means this and this means this. It's not Easter eggs that they're laying out. It's just The Rock does shit with his hands weird. That's basically it. So I am very, very frustrated with this. And honestly, it feels like a gigantic waste of our time for 6 months with our final 6 months with John Cena. It feels like an absolute waste. So there's a few chats here in the a couple of the chat rooms that we are in. Dragoon Arc is saying, I doubt we see The Rock much, if at all, the rest of the year as he tries to kiss ass to get Mean Machine Oscar nominations. They're certainly trying on WWE programming, that's for damn sure. I haven't watched a UFC live, so I've been able to just fast forward through a bunch of stuff. So, but I'm assuming that that's going to come up a lot on those broadcasts as well. So no, you're right. Like, we probably don't see a whole lot of The Rock. Very much in the future. We have Brady Hitman who's saying, hey, how's it going? And then he came in for a chat later. If it wasn't for The Rock, I believe Cena's heel turn would have been phenomenal. I agree with you. That's the thing. Like, we have all, as wrestling fans, for a really, really long time, thought about what John Cena's heel turn would look like. And the start of it looked so great, right? Like, and that's where I get just so, like, you had something right there. And even if Travis Scott was going to be kind of shitty to deal with, and even if The Rock was also going to be shitty to deal with, but just if The Rock wasn't going to come back, there was still a way to tie that whole thing into this. And it didn't. And it forced them to try to force in a few different whatevers, and you get a few fun moments out of it. But with Cena, like, calling out the kid in, what was it, Germany or something like that? Like, that was funny. And I know a lot of people's mileage varied on the John Cena pipe bomb. I thought it was entertaining. Like, we got some fun things out of it, but just think of all the different ways you could have done a John Cena heel turn and have it have been so much fun to do. And this is what we get. This whole thing is what we get. And the final angles of this whole shebang is John Cena saying, no, I'm good. I don't want to wrestle at WrestleMania. Or sorry, at SummerSlam. Getting taken out and forced to sign a contract. That barely being brought up. Him cutting a very babyface promo the next week on SmackDown, and now he's just a good guy again, and oh, hey, Brock Lesnar just happens to be here. That is the other aspect of it. I don't think I really covered it as well as I wanted to going through it. So you have to, like, placate to The Rock to try to, we need to pop a number in Toronto because we decided to go to the fucking baseball stadium for no reason. So we need to try to do this. So let's bring The Rock in for this one big thing. Instead of, okay, what's the best way to do this story? And what's the best way to handle this? So that's frustrating. And then, instead, like, there's a way. We had talked about it. I was still holding on to hope that you could still tie in all the bullshit that happened at Elimination Chamber that we should have gone at WrestleMania and tied it all in to now this at SummerSlam, where Cody has decided now that he is the one who it needs to sell his soul to get his championship back to his family. He is going to do that. And so because of this, we now have this double turn with Cody actually going with The Rock, the final boss, because he just needs this championship so badly. And everything that comes with it. And John Cena recognizing what he has done. And now you have Super Cena back going up against that whole thing to kind of close it all out. Instead, it's one promo out of nowhere and then a quick babyface turn because Brock Lesnar's back and we need something big for somewhere. I just hate it. I hate every aspect of it with something that should have been a highlight of this year. A couple more here. In the chat. We have quite a bit, actually. You guys are doing awesome today. I mentioned before that Sting was the New Jack. He turned into New Jack. We have AJ Druid saying New Jack was too extreme for WWE and would have killed someone in the ring. Probably true. Yes. No. That was not to expound the virtues of one Jack, New. That was just to say that Sting, instead of, oh, well, I'm just going to keep it safe, brother, and blah, 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 blah. He's like, no, I'm going to jump off shit. And we're going to have some fun. That's kind of how he did it. But yes, no, New Jack, there's a lot that goes on with that particular conversation. AJ Druid saying they could have done something like Gunther versus Punk with Rollins cashing in on him and having that go viral with Oba or Trick. Yeah, like to have another big surprise as like some kind of, whether it's a group coming out or something. Or like, honestly, like even like, I do think having Oba Femi attacking John Cena would be unbelievable. I don't think it gets you the reaction that you want to close out SummerSlam. And while I do think sometimes we hold on too much to, oh, what's the reaction going to be? I think sometimes you do have to. And at a football stadium for the second part of your biggest SummerSlam ever that you were saying, that one, while I think it would have been cool, I think it may have fallen a little bit flat there. But if you wanted to have Oba come out as part of some kind of a group or something along those lines, that I think that would have been really, really cool to do. I still think that this whole thing ends with Braun Breaker beating John Cena in his final match. I think it would have been great if it would have been for the title, but I think that would have complicated things a little bit, but I still think that should be the last one that Cena kind of does the honors to. But no, you're right. Like it would have been cool to have someone, anyone else coming in to help things out with Brock Lesnar. And you could even like have Cena be the head of a new faction with a couple baby faces coming in. So there's just so many different things they could have done, and all of them would have been better than whatever that was that we got. AJ Druid also saying, what happened to Travis Scott? We don't know officially, and probably never will. All the reports are is that this dude is not the easiest of human beings to work with, and so they just have decided to not anymore. That, from all accounts, that's what's happened with that one. And then Brady Hitman also saying, as soon as I saw Cena hit a co-red at SummerSlam, it was automatically better than WrestleMania. Yeah, there will be different videos. I don't think we'll do it as a live anymore, but there'll be different videos of me breaking down what we saw from SummerSlam. That match was a million times better than their WrestleMania match. And maybe it's because expectations were vastly different for both, but that match was a whole lot of fun. It's just, again, how we got to it and how it ended that was so incredibly frustrating. We have Brady saying Brock in War Games would be something I would like to see. I kind of said before, Brady, Brock in anything is nothing I would like to see. I even from just a wrestling standpoint, wasn't clamoring for him to come back. But that certainly would be a unique utilization of him. And having... I mean, right, like, he's been away from Paul Heyman for a while now, but they haven't both been heels for a while. So now they're different shows, so maybe whatever. But, like, having Brock kind of assemble his own kind of dangerous alliance. I guess if you wanted to, like... A few people were saying, like, oh, man, a classic rivalry. It's like, I have never viewed John Cena against Brock Lesnar as like one of Cena's all-time great things, right? Like it's not Randy Orton, it's not CM Punk, it's not Batista, it's not Edge. It's not even The Miz or Roman Reigns or any of that. I don't view it on that same level, but since they were so big into the throwbacks at SummerSlam with the Dominic Mysterio and AJ Styles thing, which was awesome, by the way. But since they were so big into that, you did at one Survivor Series, it was basically Team Big against Team Little. And it was like Big Show, I think they still had Matt Morgan then, and Brock Lesnar, like Nathan Jones, against John Cena and a few other like mat-based sort of guys. That'd be an interesting concept in a War Games. It's just like Brock Lesnar and just a bunch of big dudes taking on John Cena and a bunch of not as big dudes. I think that'd be an interesting concept for a War Games if they wanted to do that. So a lot of different ways that they could go with John Cena going forward. It's just the fact of how they did go with him in the past is really, really frustrating. So, yeah, the John Cena heel turn, it's a thumbs down. And it feels like it wasted a lot of potential and basically went the only way that you could have it go without injury, where it would suck. And that's really, really unfortunate. Getting a couple other messages in the chat about a couple other things. Just for my own editing purposes, I wanted to keep the Cena stuff kind of as together as I possibly could. So I'm going to hit the wrestling talk thing again, and we'll just shoot the shit about what's happening in wrestling here for the last little bit. So, a couple more from the chat as we just do a bit of bouncing around the wrestling world. This one from AJ Druid over on Twitch. I'm wondering what Liv Morgan will do when she returns. I was a little surprised. I had kind of said when we laid out the what do you do with Liv Morgan's injury, I basically laid out, like, just put Roxy right in her spot and just kind of carry that on. And I did think that the way to do this effectively is Roxy and Raquel holding on to the tag team titles and kind of building up this relationship and having Liv be this kind of jealous whatever when she comes back. Obviously, that's not the case right now because they lose the tag team titles to Charlotte and Alexa Bliss, which, by the way, like I don't think is an awful decision. I think you have something that is really, really hot right now with Charlotte and Alexa. Take advantage of that. Use it. The crowd is into it. So absolutely go for it. I like what they are doing with that. But it now does leave an interesting wrinkle. What does Liv Morgan come back to? Do they just kind of like start pestering Roxy Perez? Because I think she's really fit in quite well with the Judgment Day and in this story. Now, I think Liv with Raquel is a better kind of a, I know the comparison's made a lot, but kind of a Shawn Michaels Diesel sort of a thing than Roxy and Raquel are. And I do think that Roxy is still a really good babyface. This heel run has been a lot better than I thought it was going to be. But I think Liv kind of comes back and her and Raquel very aggressively turn on Roxy and probably Finn and JD McDonough as well. And it's kind of a Judgment Day Civil War splintering that happens. That would be my guess right now. But one thing I noted from the weekend, and again, keep it locked on my YouTube channel, youtube.com/@CouchPotatoDiary for a whole lot of wrestling content here. I'll do the Summerslam recaps just as their own videos, not on a live stream, since we are, again, running out of time for all of that today. But the Raw women's division might be the most interesting kind of division in WWE right now. Like the SmackDown tag team division obviously has a lot of phenomenal matches, but in terms of like stories and the figures and my investment in the characters, on the Raw side with Naomi, with Io Sky, with Rhea, Stephanie Vaquer getting a championship opportunity coming up in Paris, Liv Morgan coming back, Raquel being there, Becky, Lyra Valkyria, Bayley, like all those different things, that feels like the best division right now. And so Liv coming back into it whenever she does is going to feel like a really, really big deal, and I'm really excited for it. Talking about some of the John Cena stuff before, Dragoon saying, the nostalgic feels for 2012. Yeah, no one's really having like, oh man, you know when wrestling was at its peak? 2012, when Brock came back and all that. Like, obviously, for some guys, Brock Lesnar guy, and all that, like for some people, there was something there, but for others, that was a bit of a down period, which is why I don't get a lot of people's romanticizing, or however that's pronounced, of Brock Lesnar. Because, like, his big time coincides with so much bad booking, bad decisions, matches we hate, just an era that sucks in general. Like, we came out of the Brock Lesnar era and into this Cody Rhodes one that we all loved. And now we're going back to it and people are defending it. And I just don't get it at all. When Brock Lesnar was the next big thing and he's eating chair shots from Jeff Hardy and doing shooting star presses onto his head, I loved it. Like that him as a performer then is one of the greats that you will ever see. But Suplex City stuff sucks. And none of the matches are any good. So I don't get why people were so excited about it. A couple more here and then we got to get running. Dragoon Arc. Was it a mistake not to give Cargill, not to go with Cargill over Tiffany? Yeah, I was surprised by that one. Like Jade feels like the star and has all of those things. Now, in ring, she's not as good as Tiffany is. And Tiffany obviously has a look and everything about her as well. But it's not like that championship run has been going so well that it's like, well, no, we can't possibly go away from that now. We have to keep that momentum going. So hopefully this is a recommitment to Tiffany as a top character over on SmackDown. But this one is going to have the follow-up's going to have to really impress me, Dragoon, for me to not believe that this was a mistake, to not go with Jade Cargill, not have her be the face of that women's division and roll with it going forward. So we will see, but the Tiffany run is really going to have to ramp up now for me to feel any kind of improvement on that. And then, of course, AJ Druid, speaking for thousands, if not millions around the world, saying, I want a devil's kiss from Stephanie Vaquer. No better note to end on than that. That's going to do it for the show today. Again, thank you guys so much. I know we were real heavy off the top. So this chat was fun. Like I said before, keep it locked. If you're watching on YouTube, hit that subscribe button, hit the bell button so you know when we're going live. Gonna go live again tomorrow at 10 a.m. To talk wrestling and a whole lot more from the sports world. If you just want the wrestling, I do have a podcast called Living Room Lariat. It's where all the wrestling stuff from here kind of gets compiled into one area, and you don't, if you're not a sports fan, just a wrestling fan, it's there for you. Also, if you're just a hockey fan, if you're just a wrestling fan, if you're just a basketball fan, all the playlists are available over on Couch Potato Diary. If you just want that content, it is over there. So again, thank you guys so much for hanging out today. Next live stream is tomorrow at 10 a.m. Mountain Time. Wherever you are watching this, thank you all so much for hanging out today. Talk to you all later.